Hello, welcome to my craft room. It's Rhoda. Today we're working on a double challenge. I decided to add two of them together. So I've got 5 prompts in one and 5 prompts in another. They each share the same prompt die cut. So I'm going to tell you all the prompts at the very end, and I've got all my things laid out here. We're going to work on it and see if it'll make sense at the very end. Okay, so the sneaky peek, I'm back in the, is it my December daily journal? That's what I'm trying to remember the name. Thank you everybody for coming to visit and spend a little time and having a little interest in what I'm doing. This here is what they call a glassine pocket. It's one of these clear semi-transparent. Sorry about my fingers. I had a situation with the printer with that doily down there. But it's sort of a semi-transparent little card, and see, you can see right through it. Anyhow, so I decorated it. I have some gift wrap that's back there. I have a few die cuts on here. This was from something. I think I've got that bird waltz over there, the collage paper by Tim Holtz. I believe that's where that's from. Anyhow, oh, my crown's coming off there. I don't know why that's on there. It must be for a reason. And I have this on book page, so it's a nice big pocket. And when you flip over, it's just one of those simple pockets. It was something from right out of the kit. I didn't decorate it or anything. It's as is. Oh, well, I'll figure out where I've left off here for the next one. And what we are doing, if you saw my paper towel shabby chic, I mentioned doing this one little, it's like a waterfall. So anyhow, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're making a waterfall. I've got index cards that are coffee dyed over here. I have some scrap paper that I'm going to be stamping on. I have this Tim Holtz cling stamp set, and we're going to mostly be using the train icons on here. And then I've got this nice big single-sided piece my friend gave me long ago. And I've got a few pieces here that are from my recent 400 subscriber giveaway win from Paper Crafting with Miss Tommy. I got her giveaway, so I'm using some of the pieces from that. And this is the problem where I got it on my hands. I saw somebody printing a doily, and they ran it through the printer. Well, obviously I did not secure it enough or something, but it's a cool effect. I mean, and if you print it correctly, you get 2 different pieces. I had to go over this with some vintage photo because it wasn't matching. See, it's more blue on here for some reason. Maybe I need to add my yellow ink. But see, you get like an impression there if you get it to stay on there just right. Maybe you can add some glue stick to the back of it and it'll do a better job. I've got to experiment with that. So anyhow, let's clear off our desk and get to working. Let me get this all figured out. I'll be right back. I'm sort of going for a grungy type of a feel. This is going to be for my next journal I'm working on. And it's going to be train and western and all that related. So these are pretty nice. It looks like it may have been cut off of another piece. I don't know. But it's the same size as these small index cards. So that'll be perfect. The lined side is going to be on the back of the card. And then this is going to be on the front of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. And you know, I might just play around with making a pocket too. Maybe there'll be a pocket on the top. Yeah. Well, it just came to me. Hey, it's always evolving. Whatever you come up with, it will always evolve into something else. But before we do that, what we need to do is find us a piece that's going to be a hinge. So let me see about finding that. Okay, I think I've got everything prepped so far. I've cut a piece here out of my background paper. That's that piece from the paper loft, I think it is. I don't know if this is still available, but it was some really beautiful ironworks sort of papers that was in here. So anyhow, I have got this 4 inches wide by 8.5 tall, right? 8.5, because that's usually what my journal pages are. So that's been cut. I took a few strips from that same paper, 1 inch wide and 6 inches long, because I'll probably have to trim just a little bit maybe, but they're to go on these index cards, which are 4 by 6. And I've also creased it right down the middle. So I went on the back of all of them with vintage photo, just in case that hinge part peeks out. I don't want it to be white. I do not want it to be white. Okay. So what we need to do first is probably, is that mountain into valleys or hills or something? Whatever that phrase is. You always go in the opposite direction. All right, so we're going to get all them prepped up and put on here. And it is nice and muggy today, it feels like. I might have to zip over there to the central air and put it up a little bit. Or maybe that's down a little bit. Yeah. Whew, well. Anyway, so I thought this one here especially reminded me of the front of a train. I don't know if that's going to be on the front, though. I'm still deciding on. And I thought this would be the numbers, either, you know, the train numbers or, you know, the stations or whatever. Oh, we love to go over to West Virginia and do our researching and all that, because we see all kinds of things. I think I like this light one for the very front page. I think that's the way we would do it. This one looks like it's almost got like an oil can on it. So I like that. I don't know if that's exactly an oil can, but that's what it looks like. It may be ink. And then we have this one, and we got that one. So maybe we'll go in that order. That looks good. And then what we want to do is we know this is the back, so we're going to turn this around. And what we're going to do is glue these to the bottom of your piece, just like that, like a V, because these are going to flip down. They're going to be on this page over here, and they're going to flip up and down. And to tell you the truth, this doesn't need to be 6 wide. It needs to be 4. So I'm going to correct that, and then I'm going to glue all these down, because it only needs to be as wide as this here. So let me fix that, and I'll get these glued down, and I'm going to choose my papers. Let me do one so I can show you, because let me figure out where 4 is, and I'll get in here and cut it manually. Got like right here. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, now what I'm going to do is run me some glue, and this is going to be nestled in between the 2 papers, so you probably won't see any of it, but just in case we wanted it to be covered on all counts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get it up here where you can see it. I'm going to find my middle. It's just right there. We're going to put this down right here, which is, it's going to have an inch on both sides. There we go. And that's pretty easy. That is pretty easy. All right. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to put our pretty on top of it. And it's going to go right on top, right like that. So we have to, I don't think this paper either likes to cut well or what. Now, I could get in here and do a little bit of embroidery or emery boarding. Sorry. Yeah. If you wanted to get in here and really rough up those edges, which I might. I think I like that look. I have to figure out what I'm going to do otherwise. But yeah, that's the back. This is the front. So, of course, I've got that backwards. This is supposed to be around this way. See, I haven't worked this out yet. So, it doesn't matter. Neither one of these are going to see. to be seen. So there we go. Now we're going to put our Barely Art glue back here on the back. Get our edges really nice and glued, and then get you some in the center. If you want to do glue stick, I don't know. Glue stick is good for lightweight papers, but these I wanted to be a little heavier, medium to heavy, just so they're strong. Because you're going to be flipping them up and down, and you're going to be writing on them. So I'm going to measure from the bottom up, because I can always trim the top, but I can't trim the bottom because of the hinge. There we go. Squeeze out as much of our glue as we can. Get our edges all sealed nicely by doing it like that. Press them down. Okay, there we go. Now see, this up here I'm going to have to trim a little bit, and the side as well. So that is exactly what I'm going to do with all 4 of these. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the fronts and the backs on, and if you notice, I've rounded the corners of those. So I was just going to do this last one with you. And I'm doing that. And then down here, this, you just fold it up, and you can get in there and around those corners as well. I think it gives it a nice, clean, appearance. And that one, it's trying to fight me a little bit, so we'll just help round it like that. And on this big base piece here, what I want to do is to show you, I have an alcohol marker, and it's a brown, and I'm going to find the chisel edge, which is this one, and it's got a really big white core. I don't want that showing, so I'm going to just run it along the edge of my paper like that, and we're going to get rid of it. If you have markers, just regular markers, they will work. Any kind of marker, it doesn't have to be an alcohol ink. That's just what I have. I have a bunch of them. Okay, and just watch that you don't lean or anything, and just go flat against there, because especially with alcohol markers, they like to bleed a little bit, but it doesn't matter with this. Okay, now all of that's been done. These are going to be like that. I'm going to get on here, and I'm going to show you how to take you a fingernail file and just start digging away at certain areas there. If you have another type of just flat sandpaper, you can do that. I'm just going to do this before I do any inking on my edges. I thought it would give it an old, see how it's different from the rest of this, how it's really changed the appearance of the edges. If you like grunge and, distress and all that kind of thing, this is, I've been seeing the ladies that do the pieces for Tim Holtz. They get into this. They do all kinds of things like this. He's actually got a little piece of round sandpaper that's something like on the end of one of these. And he was doing that in his last video that I watched. Well, me and Zach, we love us some trains. So every time we go to West Virginia and do our research over there, we're always seeing trains, because it's not just passenger trains. They used to haul the coal out of there. That was one of the main ways that they got the coal to other places in the world. And so we're always trying to take a video or picture. Probably the locals are looking at us and thinking, what are they doing? But we just love it. They'll sound the horn for us, the whistle. Sometimes they'll wave at us. You want to be definitely out of their way, though. You don't want to be around the track. So we think that's the coolest thing. So that's a bit of the reason I'm doing my next journal is going to be about trains. And it's going to be about the West. With, my people come from West Virginia. but basically, we're over here on the eastern border. But I do have a great uncle. And he went out west. He went to Oregon, actually. And I think he had a bar. From what I understand, he married twice. So his second wife was very much younger than him. So his children, they were a lot younger. And I've talked to one. And she talked about him having some kind of great big old piece of the bar. He still had it at one point. It's in somebody's storage room. But it was cherry, I believe. And yeah, he tried to have him a big saloon out there at one time. And that's the only place I could think he would have been. Now, she also told me, and I never have figured this out. I don't know if I mentioned this before. Now, he was born about 1874. He was, you know, from a first marriage. And my grandmother is his half-sister, and she's from the second marriage. So, she's a little younger. Anyhow, so the daughter mentioned that he was out there when there was a grasshopper plague. And they talked about the grasshoppers, locusts, being so bad that they took the front of the trains. It took the trains to push them off the tracks. There was that many laying on the tracks. It was like waist high or higher. So it was just something else. And I've tried and tried to find something about it, and the only grasshopper plague that they had out west was about the time that he was born. I don't know if I need to specifically look for Oregon or what, but I need to get back in there and try to find that. You know, you hear these stories, you try to figure them out, you try to find the evidence for them, and then when it just doesn't match up, and it kind of defeats you, and you stop and stand back, and you think, how can I go at this again? Where can I go at this again? I like to just sit back and wait, and I'll sometimes find more information at a later date. Is this driving y'all batty? Me doing this crazy noise. I thought I'd tell you a story while I did this. But we're almost done. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Now, it's really cool against this black. That really makes a difference. Especially that one. I could tell straight off. So, yeah. I've tried to write down all the stories. I even try to write stories about the pictures themselves. And that's something else, because I've got this one set. There was an old snowball bush. I don't know if you know what a snowball bush is, but it's got these great big balls on it. And before they left West Virginia and came over to Virginia, there was 3 photos taken in front of this snowball bush. One of them's one of only 3 photos we got of my grandfather. So that was kind of interesting. Now I don't know if I want this really, really dark on here, or this. Maybe I'll go with this because it's got more yellow in vintage photo. And it's going to show more. I ain't going to want all that work to not go, to not be seen. Yeah, it's got more of a yellow tint to it. And some of this has yellow in it. Okay, so, yeah. So, I've got 3 photos that we figured out were taken right before they left. That's kind of neat. It's cool when the photos actually tell a story. I did a pictorial history of them coming over, where they stayed. I got pictures of them. Most of the places were gone, but yeah, I got that. I've got documents saying where so-and-so was born, so it was proven that they lived there at a certain point, that kind of thing. But it's kind of an interesting thing to come up with for your family, and to share it. I did mine on Facebook, so, you know, I could get it to everybody, and I didn't have to print it out and, you know, spend money that way. All they gotta do is get in my album and read about the family. Now this one kind of, it kind of is hiding it. Crap, maybe I should have not put any ink on there like that. I wonder if this one's better. This is my ground espresso. Well, it was just an experiment. I had never done that before. So, all right. Our next step that we want to do, and I didn't leave any of these a pocket. I mean, I talked about that. And it's always a possibility. Okay. Our next step, we have to have fabric. One of the 5 states lace, which this is, and another one states fabric, which I assume this would be considered a fabric as well. So a little bit of this raggediness, like especially one of these really raggedy places. I wonder if I could rip that. Yeah, I can. So that's what I'm going to do right there. Can I? The more raggedy, the better. Hey, I'm going to have to trim off some threads, though one of them says bunched up threads, so I don't know if that could be considered the bunched up thread part. Hey, let's try it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to put on my front. I have this train, and I think I want that on there, so I've got to get that out and stamp it. And both of my challenges said die cuts. So this is my die cuts. It's these little gears. And I've had these for a while. They're from Spellbinders. But there's 6 different ones, and they kind of interlock with each other. They're really cool. I like those little packages you can get. I've got at least half a dozen, and I think they're really interesting. Okay, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that guy. And then we're going to get in here and we're going to do some stamping. Always a fun thing. I don't know if they're getting less expensive there at Tim Holtz or what, but this is on some kind of paper. I never could figure out what was going on there. All right. We also have our doily, which was hard fought to get. So I'm thinking my doily, it's going to have to be on the front for all of my, most of my things are going to have to be on the front. Yeah. So the doily is going to be on there. The train, this cookie stuff is going to be on there. These other ones can go back a little bit. Yeah, well, let's stamp this out our train and see what we're working with. I'm not sure which one of these I need. Oh, sorry, I shook you. I had to reach. All right. Now, stick it on there like that. I'm going to get my black ink. Okay, I got my VersaFine Onyx Black pigment ink. It is great for doing writing, or any words, I mean. It is a very, very deep black and gets all the detail. I've loved it. I've had this about 2 years. And I've really been using it too. So, anyhow, it is a good one to have in your arsenal. All right, what we got going here? Let's see if that'll work. I want to figure out if I can get the tracks in here in some way. All right, and you just push. I'm doing the CPR that they always tell you you don't have to do. But look, isn't that pretty? That turned out so good. All right, it looks like a little bit of it did not get, you know, picked up from there, but that's okay. You really, really don't notice it because there's so much detail in that. All right, so the idea, and yeah, that off-white goes with this stuff here. Really good. So what we're going to do is rip it and just rip around your outside edge. Try to avoid your detail. I've drawn a couple trains too. I had something in art I had to do one time with trains. It was you had to do it in black and white. That was the only two colors you could use. And it turned out pretty neat. I was happy. All right, what do I want? This, it's not going to look right on that track. So I have to probably put the track maybe on like the edge or something of the pages behind here. That would work. Ugh. I'm trying not to be so neat here, but it's hard not to be neat, right? All right, I'm doing ground espresso on the edge. Oh yeah. Yeah, the book I'm going to, or journal that I'm going to do next is a couple of kits. I want to do 2 of the kits of Kyung's, and it's She's Wonders by Wink on Etsy. And I am going to do something up with her kits. Okay. I'm thinking I can build those on top of here a little bit. Maybe one underneath and one up above. Let's do that. Let's start. I thought I was going to have to use some bunched up threads this way, but I think I'm going, this is the bottom piece of the whole system here. So I'm just going to let them hang. They're kind of bunched up. I guess a lot of times it's whatever your interpretation of the item is. And all these little things here. Sure enough, I don't put any glue on them, they'll get stuck and tore off and everything like that. Okay. There. All right. Right in that corner. Okay. He kind of blends in, but I'm okay with that because the other ones on top are going to be a little different. Okay. Our doilies next. Whoops. Those bunched up threads are going everywhere. All right. So this is going to be right here. I can just go ahead and cut it off. I think I'm going to try to use the whole thing. It was hard won. I mean, and I can save this for something else. That might go back on another page. Yep, so that is going to be put right there. I don't know. I'm going to have to glue it. If I glue stick it, it's not going to do so well. But if I can do major parts of it, like the edges, I think I'll be able to get away with it. Yeah, doilies are tricky. They're very interesting pieces to use in any of your projects, but especially little intricate guys like this. All of those little holes. Lots and lots of little holes. Now I got a line going around here. Let me take advantage of that. I've got an edge here I need to get. I don't know if that is a acorn, whatever that thing is there in the center. Okay. Let me get back over here and finish this off again. Alright, let's go down with it. Get my finger off of it first. Yeah. Where's my stinky rag? There we go. Yeah, look at that. Alright, I got to dab at it to get all that excess glue from the holes and where it won't stick anywhere else. Yep. I got one little piece to trim right there. That's good, that's good. Next is our piece of cloth. Right there. These crazy threads. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, yep. Bunched up threads. Now I want this to be kind of over here. I don't want it to mar my number. I fought so hard to get. And instead of fabric tack, this is from my buddy Paper Crafting with Miss Tommy. She sent me this foam and poster board adhesive. She said she got it at the Dollar Tree, but they don't carry it anymore. But I'm sure it's at Walmart, and it's probably not as expensive as fabric tack. But I swear it's the same thing. I know it's the same thing. It's by Beacon for one, and it's got the same smell. It dries almost immediately. So, you know, what is that phrase? If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. Yeah, that's it. Alright, so I'm going to probably get in here and sneak a few more little strategic pieces. Maybe like right here. Needs a little bit. Okay. I think that might be all I need for that. Yep. Let's put the lid on it. Because it is easily... Oh, I need that again. Crap. I need it again. I got to figure out if I'm going to need it for this other one. So I just will cap this for now. I'm going to need it to put that on with. Forgot about that. So let's see. I used a lot of this to do some paper bag journals I took down to the shop the other day. And yeah, I used a whole bunch of it, but there's still some in there. It's going a long way. Alright, there's our train. I can still see some of the lace, which is good. Okay, now we want to finish off our little sprockets here, whatever you call them. Oh, got that one sticking to me. Okay. Do I want another big one? I'll put that one on another page. I'm going to just do several up here. Go ahead and do this one. Okay. Some people put glue on the back of their hand. I used to watch these English. It was, what was that? Craft. It was called something. I can't remember it for the life of me right now. But it was, they did crafting and things. And every half hour somebody was doing something. And otherwise they were showing a new product. But this one lady always put glue on the back of her hand. Okay, I think that might work. Maybe one more. Maybe this little tiny one needs to go over there to the far left. Okay. There we go. Yeah. That works for me. Oh, all right. I'll save those for another page, a little further back. Okay. What is next? I know I want to put some tracks on another page, but I think what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish. I'm going to put this in here, and I've got to finish decorating it. There's a few more things I got to do to it. And then we have to put a word phrase on here. I've got that set aside here that we'll do. And we're just going to start from the bottom and start going up. So Oh, wrong side. I need to be this side. Okay. And I got to try to get this one at the very bottom. So put that on there and then slide it down. And make sure it's in the middle. Why does that look like it's not in the middle? This is 6 inches. Well, I must not put that one on there right or something. I got a little bit of time to move that. Because being barely arts, it's not crazy like art glitter. I think that's about as good as I'm gonna get it. It seems like I need to be over just that little hair. But we ain't gonna worry about it. We're not gonna worry about it. Alright, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the top one next. Because we want to make sure that this one is not higher than that. That's why we want to do this. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to make sure down here, let me slide it up. I'll make sure down here I'm at the 6-inch marks. And then, so I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to make sure that is at the top and at the 6-inch marks. So, I'm going to have them all lined up, you know. They won't be wonky. Okay. There we go. It looks like I glued. It looks like I glued the little track wrong. I don't know what I did. Okay, and now these are where you're going to want to go. Right in the middle. So, I would say, like... that's in the middle. So, the middle of that... We're going to say right there. And we're going to say right there. It's whatever you want to do. Oh, you figure it out. Or measure it beforehand. Or eyeball it like I do. Okay, I'm going to put our glue on here. And we're going to put it at the very base right here. Line it up to our marks. And lay it down. There we go. Hopefully this will turn out right. You know, you can only cross your fingers, right? Alright. And I got an interesting little closure idea. We'll have to get that on here. Oh my gosh, it's already... Ugh. I thought I did shortcuts to where it wasn't going to take that much time, but it seems to be doing it anyway. Okay. There. Now. Yep, that's pretty much on the money. Yeah. And so you can always decorate the rest of these, like with your other pieces and parts and stuff like that as you're going down. But there's some we have to go with our different prompts up here. I would like to have a word, which I have one in here that I'll probably use. And being lost is worth being found. I kind of like that one. Because this is like a traveling type of a situation. So we're going to use that one. And we're going to put it on this right here. I'm going to use our black onyx. And go right like that. Nope, it's stuck. But yeah, there you go. And then we're going to just do a little rippy rip like we did the last one. And look, you're using up some of your, you know, scraps and I'm still over there digging in my scrap bucket. It never has gotten full. I'm always finding something to do with it. I did a master board not long ago. Maybe I can show you that at the end of the video. It's going to be a long one. I still got a couple things I've got to do. All right. Let me rip that right there. All right. Let me glue it. And we're going to put it on our front. Right here. I like that spot for it. Okay, I got this old tea bag string. I think it might be long enough. And this little metal button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this, like fabric tack, whatever stuff, poster board, and I'm going to glue it right there in the center of this top piece. And I'm hoping it's going to glue down good for me. Actually, let me hold on a second, because I need to do this first. Let me do this first. I'm going to take an old piece of washi we don't need. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here where the washi is going to go, especially where the thread is going to be. Okay, and we're going to put that right there. And then we're going to put the washi on top of it and hope it holds, because this part's going to be glued down to your page. You don't need it. So that goes there. Now let's go over here, and I'm going to show you how this is going to close. Come on, baby. I don't want it to go too far out. I don't think I can sew it. Come on. There we go. I just need a little bit right there in the center, and then we're going to put right there in the middle. I mean, you can line it up again and eyeball it, but it should be right there is the center. And I think if I got just a little bit where that string can go around it, that's all I'm going to need. All right, so this is my waterfall. I guess I'm calling it the waterfall journal cards. Waterfall journal cards. Maybe that's it, because that's about the size of a journal card. So anyhow, this is our decoration on the front. Like I said, I'm doing Miss Paintsalots Collage Challenge Week 9 and Caroline's Craft Tree Challenge Week 30. So in Miss P's collage, it's decoupage, which that's anything to do with paper. You're putting paper down on other paper. That's decoupage. Then we have the doily. Then we have the die cuts. Then we have the button. And then we have the lace. And I don't know if you can consider that a button as well. I don't know. And then in Caroline's Craft Tree Week 30, newspaper is found right here where I did these die cuts. And then we have fabric, which is the lace. Watercolor, I'm considering the ink that I put around the outside of it. Don't know if that would be how I'm going to substitute it for watercolor. We also have die cut in Caroline's, and we have the bunched up thread. So we have that thread here at the base. It's sort of bunched up. So I'm going with it. All right, let me show you those little, I did a master board, and I got all these pieces out of it. And these were from my 400 subscriber giveaway win from Paper Crafting with Miss Tommy. I did a bunch of my scraps on the background page, and then I used a bunch of stuff she had. Like here's one pocket, and here's some journal cards. But I just kind of threw a bunch of stuff on there, and I mean, they'll work in a vintage journal and all these kind of things. I'm happy with it. Well, I hope you got some ideas from this and you try this. I need to get off of here. It's almost 45 minutes. Oh, but everybody, have a great, great day. Thank you, my subscribers and viewers. Everybody, I hope to see you again, and adios.